Hello and welcome. So tonight we're going to talk about buying a home. So I know this is a really big, exciting thing to buy your first house, and a lot of people have great ideas about it or fears about it, one or the other. If they're ready, if it's the right time, if it's a good thing. So hopefully tonight we clear up some of your worries, and maybe you'll decide at the end of the night, nope, I'm not ready, I need to wait, a couple more years. Or maybe you'll say, wow, I think I can get a house, and be going to the bank tomorrow to see what you qualify for. So buying your house is probably one of the most stressful things you'll do in your life, not because of the process is stressful, but just it's like you're really growing up now, or you're taking that big leap where you have to have a big commitment. And it's a long-term commitment, 30 years a lot of times. So people get nervous about the responsibility and, the risks that might be involved with it. Because when you're renting, if all of a sudden, your pipes freeze and break, it's the landlord's responsibility to come fix it. If there's something goes wrong with the property, a neighbor, you can just move to another location. It's relatively simple. But when you're owning a home, now all of a sudden all those burdens become yours. So one of the main reasons that people turn to buying is right now rates have been really historically low. So the majority of people can get a home for the same price that they're paying for rent, or even less. I know someone that I work with just got her first home closed on Friday, and she's saving $200 a month owning a home as opposed to renting. She was renting a condo right here in Groton. So now she's owning a home in Groton, and she's going to be paying $200 less. So it's a really good deal. Another thing that is great with buying a home is you have the tax advantage. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what it means to have a tax advantage when it comes to buying a house, but the interest that you pay on your mortgage every month, you can use when you file your taxes so that you get more money back. So it's a big tax break for you when you, anything to do with your home. So if you have a home equity loan, or if you purchase a home, the interest that you pay is a big tax savings. So that's why sometimes if somebody has, gets an inheritance and they could pay off their mortgage, they might choose to pay off their other debts first, their car or their student loans or things that aren't giving them a tax break, and keep their mortgage. And then also the term of building equity. The longer you have your house, the more the value in it grows, and the more that you pay down the principal, the more that house becomes yours. So you might own have your mortgage all paid off, and now you have that house as equity. So if your house is worth $200,000, and now it's time, you paid your house off and you have to send your kids to college, you can use the equity in your home. So you can get a loan against your home to borrow, $40,000 to pay that tuition. Or it's a great investment if you want to sell the home later and you have $200,000 so you can travel the world for your retirement or whatever you choose to do. So the longer you're in your home, you're paying to get money saved up for yourself, where if you're renting, your landlord is just getting to keep those payments every month and put them in his retirement fund. So that's another big advantage. So what makes up your mortgage payment? There's a bunch of things that come under your payment. The first is the principal and interest. The principal is the amount that you're paying down on your home, the mortgage every month. The interest is the payment that you're making to the bank for letting you borrow the money. The property taxes get factored right into your mortgage. So every month you're paying your taxes. The bank holds them in an escrow account, and then when it comes July, they pay them to the town. So they do that for you, so it's kind of nice, and you're doing it in gradual, 12 months paying it so that you don't have to, at the end of the year, come up with all the money to pay your taxes. Your homeowner's insurance, as long as you have a mortgage, you'll be required to have homeowner's insurance, and that too you can pay monthly as part of your mortgage payment. So when you purchase your insurance with your insurance agent, they'll send the bill directly to the bank, and every month the bank will take out 1/12 of that payment and it will go out towards is included in your mortgage payment. If you have a condo or housing fees that are, if you're in a development that has a monthly fee, that will get added into your mortgage payment. That's not everybody. And then if you have to have mortgage insurance. So what mortgage insurance is different than homeowner's insurance. And what the mortgage insurance is if you don't have enough money to pay for your down payment, you pay an extra insurance for the difference. If you don't have a full 20% to put down on your payment, you pay an extra insurance, and that's added right into your monthly payment. So some other things to consider. When you own other expenses that will pop up besides your normal monthly payment is you're going to have repairs. Well, every time something little will pop up in the house, you'll have to repair it. Your utility bills, but you might be used to paying those as part of your rent. Lawn care and equipment. It's always exciting to buy your first lawnmower. Water and sewer usage, depending if you have, city sewer and water, you have to pay a fee quarterly or monthly, depending on the town you live in. But if you have a well or septic, you might have to do maintenance on that. And then other things, randomly pop up to furnish your home and paint and all of those things. So those are other expenses to consider too. So now you've kind of decided, I think it's worth it to look into buying a house. So what are some things that we're going to look at to determine whether you're, eligible or it's a good time for you to buy? So the 3 C's of credit are the basic: character, capacity, and capital. For any kind of loan that you might want to get are the 3 things that a lender will look at. So character, the first one, we want to know, how is your credit? By how is your credit? Do you have any loans? Have you been paying them back on time? Are you a responsible borrower? How long have you been employed? We want you to be employed 2 years in a profession. If you've switched jobs, if you stayed in the same field, that's fine. Or if you've just finished a degree and you have a job in that field, that also counts towards the time that you've been employed. And how long have you lived in the same area? If you've been hopping from state to state, shows that you're a little not as stable as somebody who's been in the same area for a year or more. So they're going to want to look at those main things. And sometimes things might change, like being in the area. Maybe you just got a job relocation. So, it's not 100% that you have to have been in the same spot, but you might have to just answer the questions as to why you changed. Checking your credit is probably one of the things that you should really do first, just to kind of get an idea of if you're going to qualify. You should all probably be checking your credit every year anyways, no matter what, just to make sure that there's nothing on your credit report that shouldn't be there. So these are the 3 agencies that your lender uses: TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax. And usually when you're getting a mortgage, because it's such a big purchase, they'll check all 3 of them and then take the average score or the middle score as to determine what you're going to qualify for. But you yourself can go to annualcreditreport.com and get your free credit report. And I have some papers too that I can hand out with that information at the end. But annualcreditreport.com is where you can get your free report from each of these credit bureaus once a year. So you can really get 3 reports. So what you might want to do is just go home, pull one tonight. It takes a minute. You can print it right on your printer and go through it and make sure there's nothing on there that shouldn't be. that, maybe if your last name is the same as a relative's that has the same first name, maybe some of their information could have showed up on your report. Maybe you paid something off and it never cleared off your report. Maybe you have some debt that you didn't pay that you need to get cleared up before you even begin the mortgage process. So it's a really good idea to go look at your credit report. So you're going to check it for accuracy, make sure everything's there. If you do have a problem from the past, don't just say, well, maybe the bank won't notice, because they will. So you just want to go in and clear it up. So if it's a matter of maybe paying that off or talking to whoever the issue is with and working out an agreement, whatever it takes to do, but you want to repair any of the past problems. If you have some high credit card balances, like say you have a Kohl's card and you've charged it up to the maximum amount, you want to try to pay that down before you apply for your mortgage. So if your credit limit on your Kohl's card is $500 and you did a lot of holiday shopping there and you have $500 charged on there, and even though you're making your payment on time every month, if you can pay that down to $100 before you apply, it will really help to boost up your credit score. So you don't want to have the max charged on any of your credit cards. You want to try to pay that off. And before you know you're going to apply for your mortgage, you want to stop charging. If you can, hold off on making any new purchases that are going to involve charging on your credit cards, because that can have a big impact on your credit score. So you want to try to be really conscientious of that. Maybe in the past it didn't really make much of a difference, but lenders really are looking at that now and looking at the effect on your score. So when you get your free credit report, if you want a credit score, that's not free. So you have to pay a little bit extra for that. So you might want to just wait and take your chances. If your credit report looks good, you don't have anything, on there that's wrong, just wait to apply, and then your lender will tell you what your score is. But if you want to know ahead of time, they do make you pay a fee, and you want to make sure you get your FICO credit score. So that's what it will say when you are getting your credit report from any of the 3 credit bureaus, but you just want to make sure that you're getting your FICO score. So if you come up with a score of 740 or above, a FICO score of that is excellent. 680 to 739 is good. 640 is usually the minimum amount. So anything under 640, you'd have to wait till you could build your score up before you applied. So you have a pretty big range, but if you've never borrowed any money before, you think, oh, I'm going to have a perfect score because I've never done anything wrong, and your score might not be that good just because you don't have any credit history. Or maybe you've only had one type of loan, like a credit card, and nothing else, and you've always paid it on time, but maybe your score will be a little lower because you don't have any other installment loan or anything on there. So don't be surprised if your score isn't as high as you think it should be, but just, there's lots of little things you can do to get it up if you have that problem. So the next category is capacity, and that's just how much you're comfortable with paying every month and how much can you really afford. So to look at that, we're going to look at all of your income that you're making, and we're going to look at all of the debts that you have to pay. So most lenders will look for a 43% or less of debt ratio. So that's your income to your expenses. So now's a good time to be thinking, what you're budgeting, what you're spending your money on. Are there some things that you could eliminate? For your income, we're going to look at your pay stubs, if you're self-employed, your tax returns. If you get a bonus every year, that can be considered. If you get paid commissions, we'll look at a history to see, what your average commissions are that you're making. So there's a number of things that are going to be looked at. If you have a part-time job, that will be considered, all the different components. But there's one thing to consider that is not considered when, a lot of times when you're applying for a loan, that you have to keep in mind. If you, have a daycare expense, If you have maybe you have a horse, or, that's a big, expense, a pet, that's a big expense, hidden insurance premiums, different things like that that might not be considered. You have to keep in mind that you're still going to have those expenses. So to determine your debt-to-income ratio, we're going to look at all of the monthly payments that are on that credit report. So we're going to want to see how much you pay for your car every month, how much you pay for your student loans, for your credit cards, if you have to pay alimony or child support. All of those things are going to be considered. And then we're going to add all those up and divide them by your gross income. So not after all the taxes come out, not the amount you get in your paycheck, but by the total amount of your pay. So I have a little example here. So say, for example, your car payment is $250 a month, your student loan is $135, your credit card one is $45, and what they look at is the minimum amount that you have to pay every month. So if for some reason the minimum amount doesn't show up on your credit report, they take 5%, which is a little high of the balance that you have outstanding. So that's a figure you can use. So this person had 2 credit cards. So their total monthly expenses were $555 before their mortgage or rent. And their income was $4,000, so they made $48,000 a year, and $4,000 of it is a monthly income. And divide the $555 by $4,000, and it comes out that their ratio is 13.8% before considering housing. So then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how much you could typically borrow. The 43% was the maximum amount of the debt-to-income ratio. And what they're going to do is take the $4,000 amount times the 43% and come up with $1,720. So that's how much you can afford to have to pay out in your housing and all of your expenses every month. So from the $1,700, we're going to just take out the amount we said for your car and student loan and everything, and it leaves us with $1,165. So we said in order for you to have your mortgage payment, you had to pay your taxes, your insurance, and your mortgage insurance. We'll take those figures out, and it will come out that just the flat principal and interest you have to pay is $625. If we take that and figure an average mortgage of 4% over 30 years, your amount that you could borrow is $131,000. So this person in this example could start looking for a home that was in the $131,000 range. So I know that was a little bit confusing because we kind of backed into the figure, but really if you just took what your mortgage payment would be and all of your other expenses divided by your income would be the total amount that you could borrow. So the last of the 3 C's was capital, and that's savings. It's really important to have some money saved before you purchase a home. So even if you are going to get a mortgage with a down payment assistance program, so you really don't have to have a lot of money saved for your down payment, you still need to have some money in your savings. And usually after all is said and done, the bank wants at least 2 months of your mortgage payments in a bank account. So, it's always good. And plus, it's even better, I would think, if you could go up to like 6 months would be even good, because if you ever lose your job or you have an unexpected thing go on, all of a sudden you need a new hot water heater or something goes wrong with your car, you have that little bit of a cushion. And so definitely the bank, when they're going to qualify, you will look and make sure you have some money in savings, in your retirement. If you have a 401k, even though you don't want to use that to retire, that's good to show, they'll look at that you have that money. So all of your savings that you have is something that you're going to report when you fill out your mortgage application, and all of that will help you to get approved. So what you want to do when you think, okay, you've checked your credit, it looks good, and you're ready to go to the bank, you're going to go and bring all of your proof of your income, so a couple of months of pay stubs, You're going to also want your tax return or your W-2. Proof of your savings, so you can bring your bank account statement, your 401k statement, and then documentation on other expenses that you might have. So if you have a certain payment, child support or alimony, you want to bring those with you too. So if you have all of that, you bring it in, and then the lender can look at everything and kind of go through those calculations we did specific to you and tell you, give you a good ballpark of what you can look for. And your real estate agent really wants you to do that too, because they don't want to waste their time showing you, $1 million homes if it's not something you could qualify for. And you don't want to, waste all of your time doing that either. If you know the general ballpark that you can afford, it really gives you a nice opportunity to look at some properties that are going to be really specific to you. So it's really helpful to get pre-qualified before you even talk to your real estate agent. So also when you're getting pre-qualified, the person that you're talking to, your lender, will go over all the different types of loans and programs that are out there for you. They'll go over the different interest rates that are current, if there's first-time home buyers, CHFA programs, all the different government programs. Maybe you're a veteran, FHA. The conventional would be just the regular mortgage that the bank is offering, not a special program. And then there's a lot of down payment assistance programs available. So people who might say, oh, I don't have 20% to put down on my home, I have to wait, or I'm just never going to be able to afford a home. There's a lot of programs out there that will help you get into your home. Some of them are loans, some of them are grants. So it's a really great time to look into it and see what is out there and what's available to you. You might really be surprised. So once you're all set with that, and now it's time to go shopping for your home, some things that you want to consider when you're looking. You want to find a great neighborhood or location that's convenient to you. I mean, you guys know yourselves. Are you a city person? Are you a country person? Do you have to have a big yard? Do you want to have neighbors in sight because you're home alone a lot and you might get nervous? Whatever it is that you're interested in, you're going to want to consider when you're getting your home. The school district is really important. If you might think, oh, I'm not going to have kids for at least 5 or 6 years or more, but it's something you're probably not going to be getting a new home before they're ready to go to school. So you're going to want to look into that, ask people, check around, look on their websites, look at the schools. Even go to the school, pay a visit there if that's something that really is important to you. Then the style of the home and the yard size is important. Are there certain things that you feel like you have to have? You might want to make a list. I want a fireplace in my house no matter what. I want to have a pool, or maybe the thought of a pool, you hate that idea, so you don't want to look at any homes that have pools already. And how close you need to be to the highway, all of that. And then check too, is your town, do you have to pay a lot of taxes at your town? And what would the insurance rates be? If you're right near the water, like a lot of homes around here, might not even have a water view, but you might have to pay flood insurance, which is a really high addition onto your mortgage payment. So, you might want to look, are we in a flood zone? Find out all of that ahead of time before, and you even go looking. So these are all things, and these are things your real estate agent will help you with too, but it's good to have a good idea, drive around and see what it is that you like. So then once you find your perfect house, the real estate agent will make an offer, and then if the seller accepts, they'll draw up a contract. The realtor will do all of that for you. You know how every once in a while you see home for sale by owner? If you're going to go that route, then you really want to make sure you have an attorney involved to draw up the contracts and everything to make sure, everything is the way it should be and you're not getting taken advantage of at all. So, and also too, it's very important to get the home inspection. so that you don't have, move into the house and have any major surprises. So the home inspection will, go through and tell you if there needs a new roof and all those different little things, if there's termites and all that you want to know ahead of time before you're in the home. Now you're set to go. So if you follow these tips, you should be all good. And make sure the number one thing, if you have any credit concerns, you address them ahead of time. Start getting all your paperwork together now. Just keep a folder and put things in it so that when it comes time, you have everything all ready to roll. And, at any time you can go in and talk to a mortgage professional and just get their advice. See what you qualify, if you qualify, what programs are out there. And after you talk to them, you're not under any obligation. You might decide, you know what, now's not the time for me. I want to wait another year. Or you might say, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to, get out there this spring and find my dream house. So it doesn't hurt to talk to somebody, and when you do talk to them, you're not obligated to follow through and go with that person. So if you talk with them, you're like, ooh, they make me uncomfortable, you can just go on and go somewhere else. So it's a big step, so you want to make sure you're really comfortable with the person that you're dealing with.